In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a system that's going to generate more leads for you. It's going to help you move away from relying on word of mouth and referrals and just generally not knowing where your next lead's going to come from, and help you build a system where you generate more leads. You know where your leads are going to come from. You know that if you put work in to the front end of the system, leads will be generated in the back end of the system. I'll teach you how to set it all up from the ground up. I'll also teach you how you can automate that process once it's working for you and ultimately scale your business. Let's dive in. So if you're a speaker that's struggling with lead gen, you're relying on word of mouth, you're using your speaking services on stage as the only way to generate leads. So the only way you're generating leads is when you're standing on stage or when somebody refers you to one of their friends or one of their peers. You don't have enough time to do what's needed to generate more leads. You know what you need to do, but you just don't have the time to do it. It feels like it's just too much effort to get started, and you become overwhelmed and just end up not starting something because the end goal seems too unachievable. It seems too far away. You might not know who you're selling to, so it becomes unclear what services you have, how you can help people. It becomes very difficult to sell a product if you don't know who you're selling to and what problem they have. And you just don't have a system in place or process that you can follow. So a lot of the time, speakers in this situation that rely on word of mouth, they only make bookings when they're on stage, they don't have enough time, feel like it's too much effort, they get stuck in this cycle. And this cycle, it tends to always look the same for everybody, but you do some cold outreach, you generate some interest, you get some bookings, you then focus on those bookings and seeing those pieces of work through. And then you come to the end of delivering those, you send out your invoices, you might get paid, and then you start to panic because you've not got a pipeline. And then you start doing some cold outreach, you start calling around people, you get some more bookings, you focus on those bookings, you finish the work for them, and then you panic because you've got no pipeline. And it's a vicious cycle, and it's really difficult to get out of that cycle once you're in it. It seems like it's just a never-ending loop. You can't see a way out. You're in this feast and famine. You're stressed because you don't know when your next appointment's going to come from. You don't know where your next paychecks come from. And it's just not a nice place to be in. There's a lot of people like that in this situation, and this is where the Speaker Growth Program can help. So we help you build structure around your business. We help you build the right processes, the right systems, so that when you wake up in the morning, you know exactly where you need to go, you know exactly what you need to do, you know what needs attention, you know which dials to turn to take your business to the next step, to the next level. And it's a very simple 4-step process. So we start with strategy. We understand who your target client is. We create your avatar. I don't like saying niche because I don't think that you should have a niche. I feel like you should have a specific person that you're aiming for. So you have a person that has a problem and you have a product that's going to help them overcome that problem. And that's where we define your strategy. We then start to talk about your story. So why do you do what you do? How did you get into the business? What's your credibility? What are your credentials? And we start to create content. We create 2 or 3 key video assets. They're going to be on your website. They're going to be on your platforms, and they're going to generate awareness. They're going to generate leads for you and help position you as a person of authority within your industry. We then implement the system, and that's the system that I'm going to talk to you about today. And this system, once you've dialed it in, can be automated and it will generate leads for you. You will make bookings whilst you're sleeping because of this system. It's that good and it works that when you automate it, you will be sat on a call with a client and you'll receive a booking notification. Someone else has booked in. You'll be sleeping and you'll wake up in the morning and you'll see 2 or 3 bookings have been made. It's that good and it works that well that once you automate it, you can step back and you can focus on doing the work that you need to do with your clients. You can focus on creating more content. You can focus on building other aspects of your business. And that's where the scale comes in. Once you've got your strategy, you know who your clients are, you've got your story down to a fine art, your message is clear, your value is clear, you've built the right systems and processes in your business, that's when you can scale. You can automate more aspects of your business. You can start to launch other elements of your business. You can write a book that you've always wanted to write. You can launch a new aspect of coaching. The possibilities are endless. So we help you in the program with all 4 of these areas, and it's a 3-month program or a 6-month program, depending on how deep into it you want to go. But we'll just focus on the system element today, because this is where the lead generation comes from. And this is where, in the conversations that I've been having with clients over the last month or so, all of their problems all boil down to not being able to generate enough leads, not having a clear pipeline of leads coming into the business, and being stuck in this feast or famine, stuck in the hustle, not knowing where their next lead's coming from, stuck in this cycle. So the Speaker Growth Program lead acquisition model is a working beast. It gets to the point where you know exactly what you put in will generate leads. So if you spend time on LinkedIn, if you create your grounding story, if you produce the right content that ties back to your strategy and story, if your website is positioned in the right way, you will attract the right people. You will be positioned as a person of authority. You'll spend some time qualifying those people. Your engagement will go up, and you will generate more and more leads in the back end of it. And it's a system that works for you. It's a very, very successful lead acquisition model. These are 4 key areas when it comes to building any processes for your business. You want to make sure that you can scale it, because once you hit a ceiling, you need to be able to go beyond that, because I see so many times where speakers get stuck at 10K months or 100K years, and they just hit that ceiling and there's no way to scale their processes or grow. So they get stuck in that level and not being able to escape it. It needs to be able to be automated, because there's going to be times when you're not around for whatever reason. You might be on holiday, you might need to take a break, you might want to focus on other elements of your business, and that having the ability to automate it makes it a much better process and a much more successful process. It needs to be cost effective. You don't want to be spending £10,000-15,000 on a process. You want something that's low cost and low maintenance. And this process gives you all of those things. And this is essentially a high level overview of how the process flow works. So you start with awareness and outreach. You put content out there that makes people aware of who you are. You put content out there that builds your brand, builds your audience. So you can use social media, you can use YouTube, you can use email marketing if you've already got a list of emails for your clients, and you can use events and networking. And these are all methods of outreach. One of my main areas of focus is social media. So I spend a lot of time engaging with people on LinkedIn and Instagram and talking to people in the messages, in their comments, and trying to generate leads that way. Some people like to use YouTube. Some people go to speaking events, go to networking events, and you can meet people that way. These are all of the areas that you can generate leads and generate awareness. You then, once you've got the lead and you're speaking to someone, you then go into validation. So understanding what their goals and aspirations are, what their current problems are, what issues do they have that's stopping them from getting to where they want to get to now? What have they tried in the past that hasn't worked, and any other blockers? So this is where you start to validate. Do they have the goals and ambitions? Have they tried anything before? What is stopping them? Do they have an immediate need to want to buy my services from me? Is this a problem that they're ready to resolve now, or is it something for the future? And that's then when once we get that validation, we send them to our VSL, which is a video asset that we create. That then converts them. After watching that VSL, they then book an appointment with you. You then send them a reminder before the appointment, and then you have the sales call and you convert them. And that's the system at a very, very high level. And the keys to success with this really are that once you've built this system, you need to spend time managing it. So I would build 90 minutes into your diary, an hour minimum if you can, every day. The first 90 minutes of your day spend generating leads. So whether that's speaking to people in social media on the comments, engaging with people, making new connection requests, going to networking events, but doing something to generate more leads and build awareness of who you are. So spend 90 minutes a day doing that. You need to create content, so 3 pieces of content a week. 1 piece of content to generate awareness, so making people aware of who you are and what you do. 1 piece of content to help them with the consideration, so giving them information about success that you've had with other clients, how you helped this client move from this point in their business to this point, how you helped this organization embed these practices within their processes and their systems. And then 1 piece of content asking for the conversion. So click here to sign up to my newsletter, click here to watch this video and book a call. You need to be human. You need to engage with people on a human level. You need to get your process and your script to a point where you sound like a human and you're asking general questions and genuine questions that a human would ask. It doesn't sound robotic. It doesn't sound automated. We will automate it at some point, and it's really crucial that the script that you have for all of your messaging sounds as human as possible and you come across as authentic as possible. And then we have process. You need to have a dialed in process. You need to have your script documented. You need to have every step of this lead gen process documented. And that's the only way that it's going to be successful. The last one is speed. So you need to be replying to people as fast as possible. Do not leave messages unread for a long time. If you can, don't go to bed with unread messages in your DMs, with unread emails from people that you are prospecting with, from people that you are networking with and engaging with and trying to get onto a sales call, because time is of the essence. They want to know that you're there for them. They want to know that you're responding to them. They want to know that you care about them. So speed is really critical. So in order for this to succeed, you need to spend time on the process. You need to be generating consistent content. If you're not generating consistent content, then it doesn't matter how many messages you send out to people. People are going to look at your feed, they're going to vet you, and they're going to want to see content that is you talking about, this is what I do, backing up what you say. So you need to spend time doing it. You need to put the content out. You need to come across as human. You need to have a process dialed in, and you need to be as fast as possible. You need to be responding to people as soon as they've messaged you. Treat it like a telephone conversation, so that as soon as someone's messaged you, you're responding. So this is the process. This is the lead acquisition model in a step-by-step guide. So I'm gonna guide you through this so that you have every detail on how to build your own lead acquisition model. And the trigger, like I mentioned before, it can be your cold outreach. It can be somebody that's followed you or sent a connection request to you. That can be a trigger. It can be somebody that responds to a call to action on one of your posts. So if you've put a post out there that says, comment scale to get my free PDF on how to scale your business, once someone comments scale on your post, you can then send them a message back and say, hey, thanks, I saw your keyword comment on my post. Here's the document. Quick question. What are your goals for scaling your business in the next 6 months? A trigger can be networking events. So if you've met someone at a networking event, if you've been anywhere and somebody asks you more about your business, if they give you a business card or give you their contact information, send them a message. It was a pleasure meeting you at whatever event it was. Try and include something personal about your conversation and try to ask them a question about their work or industry, or just continue the conversation that you started at the event and just get talking to them. The sooner you can start talking to them and the sooner you can start validating that they are your ideal client, the better. And then you've got a referral. So this is coming in from cold referrals, warm referrals of people that you've worked with in the past, and any referrals that you have coming through. And again, the process is the same. Thanks for getting in touch. What do you need support with? What problems are you facing? What are you trying to achieve in your business? Each of these triggers needs its own script to handle that first conversation. So if you're doing your own outreach, what I do in this situation is I find people that I think are my ideal clients. So speakers that have coaching services in the back end, and they rely on standing on stage to then promote their coaching services, or they do a two-pronged approach. So they might go in and deliver a keynote at a leadership conference whilst they're also working in the background with that corporation on how to improve their management systems and their processes. The outreach is you going through their page, looking for pieces of content that you genuinely think are good and you genuinely appreciate, and you're engaging with those pieces of content. So you're commenting on it, you're liking it, you're engaging with them and asking them a question so that you get a reply. So they have to acknowledge and reply to you. So if they've posted that they've been at, so for me, if a speaker's posted and said, I've just delivered a keynote at XYZ event, it was really, really exciting to be there, I'm looking forward to the next one, I can comment on that and say, I was actually at that event too. What did you think of this, and this? Or I really wanted to go to that event. I'm really upset that I couldn't make it. What were your key takeaways? So trying to engage with them to show that you're interested in them, but also asking them to reply back. And then once they reply back, that's when you can start the doctoring conversation and validating that they are your ideal client. Same goes for follow or connection requests on your socials. If someone connects with you, if someone follows you, there's a reason for that, right? They're either just want to follow you and just want to see what you're posting, or they genuinely have an interest in what you're offering and they want to work with you. They won't connect with you if they're not interested in what you're putting out there. People don't work like that. So if somebody connects with you, if someone follows you, that's the perfect opportunity to send them a message. So just send them a really quick message saying, thanks for the follow connection. It's great to have you on board. Did you find me through one of my posts? Yes or no? How long have you been working in X industry for? And then again, you start the conversation. You'll then go straight into this message here. Whatever the response is there, perfect. I've been filming events and speakers for the last 5 years and helping speakers grow their audience and generate more leads. So hit them with a piece of value. I've been working with leadership teams for the last 10 years, helping them overcome barriers in XYZ. I've been helping CEOs develop high-performing teams for the last 5 years. Whatever niche you think that they are in, whatever industry you think they are in, try and align your messaging here to that problem that they have. You might get to a point here where they don't have a niche and they aren't interested in working with you, or they just don't reply, or they don't message, or they say, I haven't got any time, I don't want to work with you, I don't want to sell anything. If there's people that are responding like that and you can see that it's not worth your time, because we're not going after everybody that responds here, we're going after specific people. And if those people aren't engaged with you and they're not willing to give you time, then you can just put them in a different pile. You might add them to an email list, a mailing list, to try and nurture them in the future, but we're not focused on those people right now. Once you've been through that and you've hit them with your piece of value, you can then start to work out, are they right for me? Is this person my ideal client? So this is where the validation starts. So you start to dot to them to find out if they're right for you. So you can start to say, have you set any business goals for the year? What are you trying to achieve in the next 6 months, 3 months? Depending on what time of year it is, will determine what questions you ask. If you're speaking to someone in February, you can say, what are your goals for the year? Have you set any goals yet? How are you getting on with those? It's early. We're already into the second month of the year. How are you getting on against your goals that you've set? If you're in April time, you can talk about Q2 goals. What do you want to achieve before the first half of the year finishes? If you're in June, July, you can start to say, before the end of the year comes around, what are you trying to achieve? What are you hoping to get to in your business? Where do you want to be at the end of this year? And really start to make them think about where they want to get to. Do they have any financial goals? how much do they currently charge for their services? And then you can break it down into a monthly figure. All right, okay, yeah, so you want to achieve £200,000 this year. That's great. And you charge £10,000 for your speaking services. That means that you need to achieve 20 bookings this year. So try and break it down into a monthly figure. Try and make it sound more achievable than it is. And it is achievable. But break it down into, you only have to make X amount of sales to achieve that. I've worked with clients in the past that had this goal and we helped them get to it in 90 days, in 3 months. It's amazing what you can achieve with the right system and process in place. And then start to ask them a little bit here about their pains, but not too much. You don't want to jump in too soon. But asking them about, what problems do you have right now? What's holding you back from achieving these goals? You seem to be really busy. You seem to be really successful. Help me understand what issues are you facing? Like what's really stopping you from doing this? What you want to do here is you're validating that they're right for you, but you also want to understand from a financial perspective, can they afford to work with you? And are they the people that you want to be working with? So are they your ideal client? So if their income is less than your baseline income requirements, there's two things you can do here. You can just put them to the side and not work with them. What I like to do is offer them a low ticket option, because if you can give them success with something that is in your budget and it doesn't take up too much of your time, that's when you can then upsell them on the back end of that. So if you can show them that something works, if you can give them something of value for a low cost, then they'll most likely work with you on larger scale things if you come back to them. So this is what you can do. You can put them on the bench, or you can offer them a low ticket item. So you can start to ask them, well, what have you tried to do to achieve your goal? Is the goal that you've said the major focus for this year, or is it just something that, I don't know, it's an aspiration, it would be nice to have if you could do it? And how hard are they trying to get there? If they say, do you know what, I set a goal, but I haven't really done anything and I'm not really working towards it, I'm not really doing anything to move the needle in the right direction, then you probably know that they're not going to go for a high ticket coaching one-to-one product, but they might go with like a 30-day sprint. And then you can hit them with an offer. Based on what you said, I definitely think that I can help you win. Would you say that you're open to trying a new approach? This is a really important question, because they've said that they have a goal, but they haven't really done anything to try and achieve it. So they need to change their approach, but they're also not showing that they're really wanting to do a lot of work to get there. So just asking them, do you think that you're open to trying a new approach? Like you said that you've not really tried much, but you've got a goal. If I could give you something that's a little bit different to what you're doing now, but I think it could move you in the right direction, how would that sound? I've got some ideas on how I can move the needle towards your goal, and it can get you your dream outcome faster. How does the conversation sound? And that's a yes or no. If they are in line with your baseline income requirements, if they earn the right amount of money for your product offering, and you think that they have the appetite and they have the right issues and problems, and you can genuinely solve them with your product, and this goes back to the right type of person. You don't want to just sell a product to someone. You don't want to just get anyone in and sell products and then leave them. We're in the business of helping people, and if you don't think that you can help them, then don't sell the product to them. So this is a really critical stage. So if you think that they're in your baseline income requirements, and you genuinely think that your product can help them, then you move them on to the next step. And this is where you dig a little deeper. So understanding more about what they've done so far. So what do you think you need to do to get you closer to your goal? So you've set the goal. You said that you've tried something. Do you have a plan to get you there? Have you got anything documented? Have you got any steps that you're going to take to get you from where you are now to where you want to be? So if they do say, yeah, I've got a plan, I've got a 6-month plan that's going to get me there. Have you tried any of the things on your plan yet? Have they worked? Have you had success when you've tried to implement that plan? And how long have you been trying for? And these are really important things, because a lot of the time people know how they get there, or people might know what they need to do to get there, but they just don't spend the time. They don't follow up and they don't commit to doing it. And it's really important, this piece is. And then you start to stretch the time, you start to lengthen the time. So asking them, is this something that you want to do now, or is this something in the future? Like, are you ready to hit the ball now? Are you ready to hit okay now, sign the form now? Or is it something for the future? And how long can you keep going like this for? You say that you're struggling to generate leads. You say that you don't know where your next lead's coming from. You say that you're constantly in this cycle, chasing your tail, going from event to event. How long can you keep going like this for, realistically, before something has to give, before you get burnout, before you run out of money, before you just can't keep going because it's stressing you out so much? And then you wait for a reply. And then the next step is to speak to them and say, look, usually my experience, someone who's in your situation, somebody who is stuck in the cycle, not being able to generate leads, not being able to lift their head out of the hustle and out of the work and see to the horizon of where they need to get to and the steps that they need to take. It's just a matter of building some structure around what you do to help drive more value and more efficiency. You just need some structure. You just need a process. You just need to know what to do tomorrow when you wake up. What step do you take forwards to move in the right direction? And then the day after, what's the second step? And then the day after that, what's the third step? And each day becomes easier and easier and easier. And then week by week, it becomes easier. And in 30, 60, 90 days, you're so much closer to where you are now, because you've got the process, because you've got the system in place. The first step is working that out. And then immediately after that, while they're processing that, don't wait for a response. Immediately after that, hey, would you be against jumping on a free Zoom call with me? I want to find out a bit more information about your situation, walk you through your game plan, and help you understand what I can do to help you achieve your goals. And I want to talk you through a specific game plan that I've come up with for you to help you achieve your goals. Now they're going to say yes or no to that. If they say yes, great. Here's a link to my calendar. Don't play tennis, batting back and forth with, are you free on this day? Are you free on that day? Have a calendar, like a Calendly or something like that, set up that's got your availability. Send it to them. It makes it so much easier. Send that to them. It creates less friction. They can look at that and they can, right, okay, I'm going to book in with Stu next week on Tuesday at 10 a.m. And just say, once you find a time that's suitable for you, book a meeting. Once you've done that, just send me a DM just so I can confirm it at my end. If they say no, handle that objection. Is it a no because you're not ready to make the change yet, or because you don't know what it is that I'm going to talk to you about? You're a bit unsure, you're unclear. You're just not sure about what it is. Like, help me understand why you don't want a free call with someone that can help you achieve what you said that you want to achieve. Like, help me understand that. And then again, this will either be a yes or a no, and just continue to follow that up. And eventually it might be that they come out and they say, do you know what, it's just a really, really shit time at the moment. I cannot even think about doing anything else right now because I've got this, and this going on. Perfect. I'll speak to you in a month. We'll check back in a month and put a reminder in the diary. And then you're going to continue to put content out. You continue to put content out and they see that content, they see your value. And there'll be a lot of people that are thinking about working with you, that they're just waiting for that one piece of content. And as soon as that one piece of content hits your feed and they see it, that triggers and right, now I know I'm going to book with you. And sometimes your next lead isn't searching for you on Google. They're not in the speaking hall waiting for you to do a presentation. They're just watching you on LinkedIn. They're watching you on social media, and the next piece of content that you put out could convert them. It could flick the switch in their mind that says, yes, I'm sold. I'm going to work with that person. So that's why it's really important to keep putting content out there. And then before the call, you want to frame the call. So thanks for booking the appointment. Is there anyone else who's part of your business who would be good to have on the call? If we're going to talk about goals and potential solutions, we're going to talk about finances. Like, you want to understand, are you the person that is going to say yes or no to signing a contract? Are you the person that's in control of the budget? And if they're not, you want to try and get as many, the right people on the call. So if he needs his CFO on there, if he needs his CEO on there, if they need another person to join them on the call, then you need to try and get that out of them before they join the call, because otherwise you'll end up having a call with the wrong person and you'll have to go through that process again with the next person. So that in a nutshell is how the process works. You need to get your daily actions in. So first thing that you need to do is start putting your daily actions in, putting 90 minutes in the morning. First thing that you do when you log in, start networking, go on LinkedIn, start to look for your ideal client, start to send them messages, start to interact with them. You'll be amazed at how quickly you start to see value from that. You start to see leads coming in from that. This is a really important step. If you're not doing that, then this is not going to succeed. So that's a really important step. And then you want to know, are you, once you've dialed in that process, once you've got your script ready, so all of these points here, this is all part of your script, this is all part of your script, this is all part of your script. All of these text points, write out your script for every stage. Once you've been doing your daily actions and you're in a position where you've got 2 to 3 sales calls that you're generating each week, you're ready for automation. And here's your automation checklist. So you've got a consistent content schedule. You're posting 3 posts a week. And I'm not saying that you need to post 3 videos a week, but if you're posting 3 pieces of content a week, 1 to build awareness, 1 to help with the conversion, and 1 to help with consideration, post those 3 pieces a week consistently so that you're generating more awareness and you're growing your brand, you're positioning yourself as a person of authority in your industry. That's when you're going to be ready. So you need to be consistently posting content. You need a predictable process, so you know that your process is fine-tuned down to every single step, every single message that you send out. You know that the effort that you put in is relatable to the results that you get out. So you spend 90 minutes putting effort in, you're going to generate 2 or 3 leads off the back of it. Your script is consistent and you very rarely deviate from it. That's really important because you're going to give this script to an appointment setter. And you've got enough cash flow to support your costs. So you've got enough cash flow to pay an appointment setter. And when we work together, I can give you more information about costs of an appointment setter. But that is your automation checklist. And essentially you'll then give that script, you'll give that process to an appointment setter, and they will be doing the outreach for you. So they'll be farming on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on any social platforms that you use. They'll be messaging people, engaging with them, responding to new connection requests, responding to call to actions from your video. Any of those triggers that I mentioned over here, this and these messages is what your appointment setter is going to be doing. So the script needs to be dialed in, and you want the script to sound as much like you as possible because they're going to be managing that for you. What that means then is that enables you to focus more on your specialism. I always say that you can't do everything in your business. You should be focusing on what you're the expert in. And if you're not generating leads at the moment, if you are struggling to do that part of your business, you're not the expert in it. So get somebody else to do it for you. But you can only get somebody to do it for you once you know that your process has worked. So you have to go through that painful cycle of trial and error and building out your process and building your system before you can automate it. You need to prove that it works. So you need to do the legwork so that you can then hand it off to somebody else. But then once you hand it off to someone else, it's an automated process. It allows you to move away from relying on word of mouth It allows you to focus on other elements of your business so that you can finally scale, and you can get to the point where you might have 2 or 3 different services or 2 or 3 different products, and you have a process and a script and a system for all of these aspects of your business, for all of these services, and you have 3 appointment setters, all of them managing different aspects of your business. And think of the amount of time that gives you back. You then just become a consultant. You don't do any of the admin, you don't do any of the work, you don't do any of the lead gen. You just sit back and you do the consultancy, you do the work that you enjoy, you help people grow. So to summarize, if you put these steps in place, you will get a lead acquisition model that will help you scale your business. You will have a dialed in lead generation system. You will have a documented process and script to help you understand what you need to do every single day of the week and what you need to do if you're struggling for leads. You know that if you spend 90 minutes in the morning doing your outreach and following your script and your process, you're going to generate leads. And you'll also have some steps to automate it. So you'll be able to automate this process. So the next steps that you need to do is start creating content to build your awareness. Start creating those 3 pieces of content every week. Book in your 90-minute daily routine. So your outreach, book that in the diary now. If you don't put things in your diary, you're not going to do it. So block time in your diary to do that. Develop and refine your script and workflow. And then once you're consistently booking appointments, hire your first appointment setter and automate it. Automate that process and scale it. Or you can send me a message, let me know that you're ready to book a session in. And in this session, we will talk more about your specific goals. We'll get a better idea of where you're currently at with your business, what your ambitions are, where you want to get to by the end of the year. And we'll map out your specific game plan on how I can help you with this speaker growth program. Like I said, this is just one module within the program. The rest of the program, we focus on, like I mentioned before, we focus on the strategy, we focus on building your story. I produce your video assets for you, me and my team. We film everything, we script it, we write it, we produce it for you, we package them up so you've got core video assets. They're going to help you scale your brand. It's going to position you as a person of authority within your industry. We nail your story. We build this system that I've mentioned here. And then when you want to scale, we help you scale that as well. We help you automate everything. We help you scale it. So if you want to know more about working together, if this is piqued your interest, then send me a message. Let me know that you're ready. We'll book a call. We'll map out your game plan, and we'll put the steps in place to get you from where you are now to where you want to be in the future. Thanks for watching.